is a Budweiser, Germany, like an actual town. And
oh no! So it's like cheddar, where the cheddar is made in the city.
I don't know about a cheddar, but regardless, like a lot of German, like the way that they do beer there is, you have local like they don't have national brands to the same extent they do here.
Sure.
I mean, they have a couple, but most of it is, if you want a beer, you go to the brewery and you get it there, and they don't really ship it outside of that thing. So you actually, like, beer tours are a big thing in Germany, because if you want to go and get like the best beer, you have to go to where it's made to get it and get it at that pub. So Budweiser Germany makes Budweiser beer, and they've been making it for like hundreds and hundreds of years. Like, it's the same recipe. So Budweiser, stupid enough, sued the copyright of Budweiser beer in Germany, which has been operating under the Budweiser name for hundreds of years before Budweiser as an Anheuser-Busch ever existed. So here's the problem. They lost. Budweiser Corporation lost.
Really?
Because, of course, Budweiser Germany, this small little, they make beer at a local tavern. One, because they've been making beer at that local tavern for like 600-700 years.
Sure.
500 of which were before, Budweiser Corp ever existed. So, by losing, Budweiser, the tavern, is like, fuck you, you had made us pay all these legal expenses. We want the copyright.
Huh.
So they're going through the process of trying to win the Budweiser copyright to where Budweiser Corp can no longer say the word Budweiser.
Huh. And when did this happen?
A few years ago. Like, this is, I imagine that, like, in the legal process it's very slow, and I don't even know if that's been thrown out. Like, I know when they initially won, it made news.
Sure.
But, like, I'm sure that the Budweiser PR people kind of kept that hush-hush.
Oh, absolutely.
And maybe they paid them off, and it's gone away since then. But I actually wonder if the killing off the Budweiser flavor had anything to do with they can't keep the Budweiser name, and this is just a
way to do it?
Right. To make people feel like they matter. It's like the whole idea of the illusion of choice. Like,
yeah.
That if you can be mad and feel like that you can put a huge corporation under, when really what you don't realize is...
It was all manufactured from the beginning.
It was all manufactured from the beginning, and these corporations are so large that they don't care about one little brand. Like, they're so much bigger than that, and the losses that they can sustain are so huge that we're like, well, they lost... $200 million, and it's like these companies are $1 trillion companies. Like, $20 million is not something that they care about. Also, when you figure that it was made up elsewhere, I really do wonder of that 25%. I would be willing to bet that 20% of it went to brands that they had stakes in.
Sure.
Like, there might be a 3 or 4% attrition rate to go to your local brewery or whatever, microbrewery. But even then, most people don't realize that a lot of the microbreweries are owned.
Right.
Or being bought out by.
Again, illusion of choice.
Right.
Yeah. It makes sense. And actually, I wonder how much overall beer sales increased. Because, again, to your point, somebody wanted to be heard. So they're like, I don't generally or normally drink beer, but because I want my choice or voice to matter, I'm going to buy beer now to support the other guy.
And the other guy is the same guy.
And the other guy is the same guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the other part of this that we've talked about is Dylan Mulvaney as a sponsor, if you want to be anti-trans for whatever movement, is also a spokesperson for Oil of Olay, which is a Procter & Gamble owned company.
Right.
So... my thought process there is Oil of Olay is kind of more of a women's company, and I tend to find that women, generally speaking, care less and less about the trans issue than men do. I've found that to be just an overall statement. I'm not saying no women do. I'm not trying to make general statements, but I find that it's a little bit more like, I don't want to touch with this. We're going.
Well, I think it's more that the transition movement in makeup has been a thing for a little while now.
Right.
Like, maybe not so much in your face as it is now, but, the drag thing was... makeup was never exclusionary.
Right.
So, it's been just going on for longer. We've had a longer time to normalize it.
Sure.
But nobody's canceling Oil of Olay,
right.
which they're campaigning in tandem
right.
with Budweiser. Like, these campaigns are running at the same time.
And it makes me wonder, like, had Dylan Mulvaney, instead of it being Bud Light, been Michelob, which is kind of
Sure.
like more of a, they try and be like more of a trendy beer, and like they have the Michelob Ultra, which is, you know, the hipster kind of
Right.
whatever. So I kind of wonder if they had got, like, if it's actually the issue of like we're anti-trans as a movement, or if it's like you have tainted something that used to be very masculine, because like Oil of Olay is owned by Procter and Gamble, and so is Old Spice.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, Oil of Olay isn't considered to be masculine, whereas like if you put Old Spice and like the, you know, you are the object of masculinity in your dress or whatever, like then that might have triggered people. But like, it's not actually the trans aspect to it that's whatever, because you don't hear anything negative to Procter and Gamble, and Procter and Gamble makes pretty much everything.
Yeah, like turn a label over in any grocery mart or,
Sure.
you know, general store, and it's usually like bottom left or bottom right hand corner, and you see the Procter and Gamble,
Right.
where they own just
Everything.
about everything.
Yeah, just about everything. So yeah, I find that to be interesting. But speaking of companies owning everything,
Right.
I want to get into real estate.